What's up? This is Chris, and you're watching Hygienist Dentist. Welcome back to another episode. We're going to talk about this transformation by Dr. Arcade de Leon. Sounds fancy. He does this awesome transformation. So if you like ASMR, arts and crafts, and dental magic, then stick around so we can see exactly what he does. Alright, so right off the bat, we can see this old restoration. It is fractured, and you got this big decay around it, which is this darkness right around the center. And you'll see the little fractured piece just come off in just a second. Ooh, rubber dams, that'll be the death of me. Alright, oh, it's gonna fall off. Oh, there it goes. Rubber dams, I hate you, but I also need you. What we use rubber dams for is to keep everything nice and dry, to keep your gums out of the way so we can get to the tooth, bond to it, and make sure what we make sticks to the tooth. Because if we get any water, the restoration won't stick, because restorations are very homophobic, hydrophobic. And so with these rubber dams, if they get cut on something sharp, even if your teeth aren't broken or fractured, they can easily slice and cut through this thing. And you see he's smoothing out all the edges, making sure it's nice and smooth and it's gonna fit in there without a problem. And he's using these little widgets, which I absolutely love. They're like giant thick pieces of floss made out of rubber, but they're not rubber. They just hold the rubber dam in place. It's beautiful. Instead of using floss and then just trying to circle around each tooth and make sure it's tight and it's so much now. You can just blossom in. Bloop. Just removing all the weak tooth structure. It's funny because actually this is sometimes needed to create the symmetry on two restorations if you're going to be restoring them entirely. Alright, so what we're doing is, let me go back. Okay, so right here you can see he's using a round diamond burr, which just removes it. And there's two speeds that we use. We use high speeds and low speeds. So high speeds remove and cut through enamel very nicely. And slow speeds, we use a round burr to remove any decay. So if it's soft and goopy and it's just weak, it'll just easily just remove off with the slow speed. High speed removes everything. And then you'll start to see like the dark spot in between will get lighter as we get rid of some of that decay. Caries detect. Caries detect is really good for seeing if there's any cavity that we forgot to remove. But actually, you want to leave some of that. Sometimes you want to leave that affected dentin in there if you can, because this is such a large cavity. You don't want to accidentally touch the nerve or get too close where you're causing problems with the nerve in the future. Also, he makes a good point. If you ever feel anything during your dental visit, just raise your hand and ask your dentist to use more anesthesia because you are not comfortable. Worst thing to do is to jump up and scare the life out of us because we have something sharp in our hands and that burr is cutting through anything it touches. So if you want us to jump it and cut through anything like a lightsaber, then scare us. Yeah, actually don't do that. Was a joke? I missed a joke. Any thoughts? To punch your dentist? Oh my god. That's what I was saying. Yeah, so actually how we remove cavities, he uses the caries detect, which is another useful tool that we use. What we can also use is tactile feel to see if it is hard, if it is sticking, if the explorer that we use, the little thing that looks like a needle that's very sharp, helps us feel exactly how it feels. So if it is very soft and goopy and that explorer just goes right into it like mashed potatoes, it's still cavities. But once it's hard and it doesn't dig in, that's when you know you got solid tooth structure and you got rid of all the cavities. So. And he's right, yeah, if you go any further and remove more, you might actually do more damage by trying to remove all this arrested dentin. So we just leave it because it won't be able to travel further into the tooth, so that's why we leave it. Bevel the margins, oh yes, bevel, bevel, bevel. The reason why we bevel is so when we put the composite, it'll just blend in, because the composite is one shade, your tooth is another shade, and where those two meet, it might be totally different. So we just want to bevel it, so when they blend in and match, it'll just look perfect. Yeah, it's super sour. Ugh. And the reason why we etch is so that the restoration has to bond to the tooth, and in order to get the surface area that we need to, we bond it so it removes all this excess calcium. These little micro tags, the prime and bond will actually go on top attached to that, and then the composite can actually chemically bond to that. Rinsing. So the reason why we do need to keep the tooth area dry is because your saliva has calcium, and the calcium will just undo whatever the acid just did. So if you're saying, why do we need to keep the teeth dry, and then you just see us rinsing it? Primer for the dentin. Okay, so the dentin is super hard to attach to. Your dentin is made out of something totally different from your enamel, so that's why it's very, very difficult to attach to it. Drying it very nice. Get rid of that excess, then light curing it. Okay, so Dr. De Leon is using these little cool pre-shaped little metal things, and that holds the composite, gets the nice shape on the back side or the lingual side, and then he just light cures it, removes it, and then he's gonna use that in between the teeth so that they don't stick together. So that would be a disaster. And then you're just building the outside walls right now. You'll see, just packing it in, trying to get that shape. Then once he light cures it, then you can just remove the little metal things out of there and just pack the rest. Oh, look at that nice outer wall shape. Oh. Just packing the inside with A2 composite. Flowable, 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 flowable. Cool, cool. And that's the Explorer that I was talking about, the little metal Sharpie thing. And then he's using different shades because your tooth is not a single shade. It gets darker and lighter, and then less translucent to more translucent towards the edge. Yeah, there's a lot of fake looking teeth, and that is what we're trying to avoid, so that's why he's using different shades. A darker shade for the inside of the tooth, and a more translucent material for the edges. Beautiful. Packing it in, back. Okay, so this is actually a lot of fun. It's so much fun to go in there and just kind of create something like an artist. You're just like, you're making a sculpture with materials that you know how they're gonna look and how they're gonna react. And then you're also using science of the chemistry and how to cut each individual surface and what direction and how deep. It's beautiful. Woo. Okay, you see the little lines he's giving in? He's creating those developmental grooves and the developmental lobes so the teeth look as natural as possible. Oh, love that. Very nice. And now he's putting a less translucent composite on top of that. That's my jam. He brought it back. Brush your teeth, yes, get that nice little finish. Just make sure they don't touch when he puts it on, because if they stick, it will not be fun. So if you don't, if they actually do stick together, it's not fun. You gotta use this tiny little flame burr, and it just goes in there, and then you try to remove what you can, and that little pointy part likes to stab into everything else and cut everywhere else. And then you have to fix all that mistakes that it causes, that it's trying to save you from the mistake you originally made. Oh my gosh. Yeah, not fun. Yeah, that's good. 1.5 hours, nice. Yeah, you can't rush art. If you want it to look nice and beautiful, you just can't rush it. Well said. Yeah, you can't rush art, just like he said. Pack it in, back. Then he creates those developmental lobes. Very nice, very well done. Oh, so nice. Okay. Okay, it's so nice because dentistry is an art because we have some translucent materials and we have some more opaque materials that aren't see-through. So you got some opaque ones up top where they're a little bit darker shade. Also he's using darker shades inside the tooth and also up top, and then more translucent towards the bottom where they're also more whiter. Beautiful, well done. Just developmental lobes, yes. All right, and then we're removing all these irregularities and we're gonna make it nice and smooth. We're gonna use like some heavier, coarser burrs to remove all the excess off. And then once we do that, we wanna make it nice and smooth and polished so plaque doesn't stick on. And using this rounded burr to make things nice and symmetrical. Little known fact, but we actually do different kind of things to make teeth look more masculine or more feminine, more youthful, more old. So you can do nice and straight and flat and more square for more a masculine and older look, or you can do some rounded edges, which are very feminine and very nice and very youthful, which personally I like. See, now he's drawing on the teeth, which is really nice because he's trying to create this embrasure and a nice little curvature, because your teeth aren't just straight flat blocks. They have nice little curves when they go in towards the tooth, and this helps prevent food from getting stuck in there, helps food just like flush outward, and makes it able for you to floss and get in there nice. And clean all that shit out. It's great. Super nice, super natural, very nice. And now he's creating an incisal embrasure, which, if you know, teeth aren't super flat and next to each other like this. They have like nice little curves going in when they touch each other, and allows you to floss, because without that, good luck trying to find that little crevice. Now he's creating these developmental grooves to create those developmental lobes, because if you know, natural teeth aren't just like one flat, straight block of white. They're actually made up of different lobes that were morphed together into creating the tooth. So he's creating that nice, and you'll see this right here. As soon as he polishes and cleans it up, you'll see the nice reflection that makes it look oh so natural. Polishing, polishing, polishing. And now he's making it flossable, so you want the teeth to touch, but you don't want them to be so pushed up against each other that you can't even floss it because it's so tight up in there. So he's just making sure that it's still flossable, because if you don't floss, all of that would just go to waste and it would just be a giant fail. Oh, so sad. So yes, floss it. Make sure you're keeping it nice and healthy. You want to keep this beautiful work of art for as long as possible. And one thing that you probably didn't know about dentistry is that since we're using mirrors, we're seeing everything in reverse, and if you want to go left, you have to actually go right, and everything's reversed and backwards, and it is crazy. And then you have this lovely dripping of water on your mirror, so it's really hard to see, and then you just have to work, and it's crazy. Okay, and then as soon as he polishes, you'll be able to see the developmental lobes and grooves. Oh, yes. Oh, right there. You see that? Those little nice little striations, little lines right there on the teeth. That makes it look so natural, so nice. Beautiful, well done. And you can kind of tell how it's more translucent towards the bottom. Very nice. And then if you can see how the teeth are not actually all on the same plane, you got the main central incisors, which are like 10 to 12 millimeters, and then you have 80% of that height, so 20% less would be the laterals. Makes it very nice and natural and beautiful. So yes, he takes you from the start, from where it was carious and very decayed, and to the finish line where it is beautiful and gorgeous, and you can see how dentistry is an art and a science, and it's just amazing and life transforming. Let me know if you guys want me to react to any future videos down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I love you guys, and if you want to see my daily life, see my Instagram, because I'm always on there posting what I do daily, so yeah. And until next time, I will see you later. I am Hygienist Dentist. See you in the next one. Peace!